In the dim glow of the office party lights, Mike's heart pounded as his boss, Elena, leaned in too close, her breath heavy with the scent of champagne. Her eyes, usually sharp and commanding, were softened by the alcohol, and for a split second, he felt the pull, the unspoken tension that had simmered between them for months. But as her lips brushed near his, he gently placed a hand on her shoulder, stopping her. "Elena," he whispered, his voice steady despite the storm inside, "if you were sober, I'd make the first move." She blinked, confusion flickering across her face, and then the room seemed to freeze. What happened next would change everything, but would it shatter his carefully rebuilt life, or finally heal the wounds he'd carried for so long? Mike Thompson's journey to that fateful party had been a long, winding road paved with grief, resilience, and unexpected glimmers of hope. 3 years earlier, life had dealt him a blow that no one could prepare for. His wife, Lisa, the love of his life and the mother of their daughter Sophie, had been diagnosed with a rare, aggressive form of cancer. It came out of nowhere. One day she was chasing Sophie around the park, her laughter ringing like bells, and the next, she was in a hospital bed, her vibrant energy fading like a sunset. Mike had quit his previous job as a freelance graphic designer to be by her side full-time, holding her hand through endless chemo sessions, whispering promises of forever even as the doctors shook their heads. Sophie, barely 5, didn't understand why mommy was always tired, why daddy's eyes were red from crying in the bathroom. Lisa fought valiantly, her spirit unbroken until the very end. On a rainy Tuesday afternoon, she slipped away, leaving Mike with a shattered heart and a little girl who needed him more than ever. The months that followed were a blur of funeral arrangements, well-meaning casseroles from neighbors, and sleepless nights where Mike would stare at the ceiling, replaying every moment with Lisa. He sold their cozy suburban home, too full of memories, and moved into a modest apartment in the city, closer to potential jobs. Sophie clung to him like a lifeline, her small hands gripping his shirt as if afraid he'd disappear too. "Daddy, will mommy come back?" she'd ask, her voice tiny and trembling. Mike would swallow the lump in his throat and say, "She's watching over us, sweetie." Like a guardian angel. But inside, he felt like he was drowning. Bills piled up, and grief counseling only scratched the surface of his pain. He needed work, not just for the money, but for a distraction, a purpose beyond survival. That's when Apex Marketing entered the picture. Mike had polished his resume, highlighting his analytical skills honed from years of data-driven design work, and applied on a whim. The interview was grueling, but he nailed it, impressing the panel with his quick thinking. On his first day, he navigated the sleek office corridors, feeling like an imposter among the polished professionals. Elena Rivera, the CEO, gave the welcome speech to new hires. She was a vision of confidence. Tall, with dark hair cascading in waves, her suit tailored to perfection. Her voice commanded attention, weaving stories of innovation and success. Mike sat in the back, taking notes, but his mind wandered to Sophie, who was at her new daycare, probably drawing pictures of rainbows to cheer him up. Elena's reputation preceded her. Born to immigrant parents who ran a small bodega, she had clawed her way up from nothing, earning scholarships to Ivy League schools and building Apex from a garage startup into a multi-million-dollar firm. Divorced 5 years ago from a man who couldn't handle her drive, she had sworn off romance, channeling her energy into mentorship programs for underprivileged youth and late-night strategy sessions. Colleagues admired her, but few knew the loneliness that gnawed at her. The empty penthouse, the holidays spent alone with a glass of wine and spreadsheets. Mike's early days at Apex were challenging. He struggled to balance work with Sophie's needs, doctor appointments for her lingering separation anxiety, parent-teacher conferences where he'd explain why she sometimes burst into tears. His cubicle became a shrine to her, photos of her gap-toothed smile, a finger-painted masterpiece taped to his monitor. Coworkers were sympathetic at first, but deadlines didn't care about personal tragedies. One particularly rough week, Mike missed a key report due to Sophie's flu. He braced for reprimand, but instead, Elena called him into her office. "Thompson, sit," she said, her tone firm but not unkind. He expected a lecture, what he got was understanding. "I lost my parents young," she shared, her eyes distant. "Grief doesn't punch a time clock. But you have potential here. Let's figure this out." They brainstormed flexible hours, and for the first time in months, Mike felt seen, not as a widower, but as a capable man. That conversation planted the seed. Over time, their interactions deepened. During a team-building retreat in the mountains, Mike and Elena ended up on the same hiking trail. The group splintered, leaving them alone amid towering pines. She opened up about her divorce. He wanted a trophy wife, not a partner. "I chose my dreams over his ego." Mike nodded, sharing snippets of Lisa, her love for baking, how she'd dance in the kitchen to old jazz records. "She sounds wonderful," Elena said softly, touching his arm. The contact sent a jolt through him, awakening feelings he'd buried. But guilt crashed in like a wave. Was it betrayal to feel this way? He pulled back, focusing on the path ahead. Back at work, the tension built subtly. Elena assigned him to high-profile projects, praising his innovative data visualizations in meetings. "Mike's got the magic touch," she'd say, her smile lingering a beat too long. Colleagues noticed, whispers in the break room about the boss's favorite. Mike brushed it off, but inside, he wrestled with attraction. Elena was brilliant, compassionate, beautiful, everything Lisa had been, yet different. Sophie picked up on his distraction. "Daddy, you smile more now," she observed one evening as they built a fort from blankets. He ruffled her hair, hiding his turmoil. As the holiday season approached, Apex buzzed with excitement for the annual party. Mike debated skipping it. Parties reminded him of happier times with Lisa, but Sophie insisted, "Go have fun, Daddy. I'll be okay with Aunt Jenny." Jenny, Lisa's sister, had become their rock, babysitting when needed. So Mike went, dressed in his best shirt, determined to mingle politely. The venue was lavish, string lights, a live band, open bar. He chatted with colleagues, avoiding the punch, when Elena appeared, stunning in that red dress. Her laughter carried across the room as she toasted the team's successes. They danced, her hand in his, feeling right, too right. The slow song wrapped them in intimacy, her perfume mingling with the festive air. "You're different, Mike," she murmured. "Real." His resolve cracked, but when she leaned in for the kiss, sobriety kicked in. His words hung in the air. "If you were sober, I'd make the first move." She pulled back, hurt flashing in her eyes. "Mike, I..." But her phone rang, the client crisis. She left abruptly, leaving him reeling. Had he just torched his career? The party blurred around him, laughter mocking his regret. The next morning dawned gray and unforgiving. Mike woke to Sophie's giggles as she jumped on his bed. "Pancakes, Daddy." He obliged, mixing batter with mechanical precision, his mind elsewhere. What if Elena fired him? Unemployment with a child, no, he couldn't go there. At work, her door stayed shut, an ominous barrier. He buried himself in tasks, jumping at every email ping. Finally, the summons, conference room B, heart hammering, he entered. Elena looked composed, but her hands trembled slightly. "Last night," she started, "I was out of line. But your words, they made me think." Mike exhaled. "I meant them. I've felt this for a while, but Sophie comes first. And you're my boss." She nodded, vulnerability cracking her facade. "I've been alone so long, Mike. You see me, not the title." They agreed to explore cautiously, coffee dates outside work, no strings. But as he left, a coworker lingered outside, eyebrow raised. Gossip loomed like a storm cloud, could they weather it? Their budding romance unfolded in secret layers. First coffee turned into walks in the park, where Elena shared childhood tales of helping in the bodega, dreaming of more. Mike opened up about Lisa's final days, the hospice room filled with her favorite flowers. "I felt helpless," he admitted. Elena squeezed his hand. "You're stronger than you know." Sophie remained his anchor. He read her bedtime stories of brave knights, wondering if he could be one. One evening, after a particularly sweet call with Elena, Sophie asked, "Daddy, do you have a girlfriend?" He chuckled nervously. "What makes you say that?" "You hum when you cook now, like Mommy did." The observation pierced him. Joy felt like infidelity, yet healing too. Challenges arose swiftly. The rival firm's offer came via email: senior position, fat salary, remote options. Tempting, especially with Sophie's orthodontist bills looming. He confided in Elena over dinner at a hidden bistro. "It's a lot of money," he said. Her face fell, but she masked it. "You deserve it." Think of Sophie. Inside, doubt gnawed. Was she pushing him away to protect herself? He agonized for days, pacing his apartment while Sophie slept. Dreams haunted him, Lisa urging him forward, Elena fading into shadows. Turning it down felt right, but the HR email arrived the next week, anonymous complaint of impropriety. Investigation pending. Panic set in. "This is my fault," Elena said in a hushed call. "We should have been more careful." Arguments erupted. "You're worth the risk." Mike insisted. "But at what cost?" she countered. He hung up, storming into the night, questioning if love was a luxury he couldn't afford. Sophie found him crying on the couch later. "Daddy, don't be sad. I love you." Her words were a lifeline, but the real test loomed. Could they survive the scrutiny? The investigation dragged on, interviews probing their interactions. Mike defended their professionalism, but stress frayed nerves. Elena distanced herself at work, her emails curt. Loneliness crept back for both. One rainy afternoon, Mike picked Sophie up from school, her drawing in hand, a family with 3 figures. "That's you, me, and your friend Elena," she explained innocently. It sparked an idea. He invited Elena over for dinner, no pretenses. She arrived hesitant, bearing gifts, a puzzle for Sophie, wine for him. The evening unfolded magically. Sophie chattered about unicorns, Elena sharing stories of her abuela's folktales. Laughter filled the air, easing tensions. After tucking Sophie in, they talked on the balcony. "I'm terrified," Elena confessed. "Of losing control." Mike pulled her close. "Me too. But let's face it together." The kiss that followed was sober, intentional, sealing their commitment. HR cleared them weeks later, no evidence of favoritism, just stellar performance. But lessons lingered. They attended couples therapy, learning to communicate amid power dynamics. Mike integrated Elena into family life gradually. Zoo trips where Sophie held both their hands, movie nights with popcorn fights. Elena blossomed, her rigid schedule softening for spontaneous picnics. Yet, hurdles persisted. Sophie's first school play brought tears. Lisa should have been there. Mike faltered, but Elena's steady presence helped. "She'd be proud," she whispered backstage. As their relationship deepened, external pressures mounted. Elena's board questioned her focus, hinting at burnout. Mike supported her through late nights, bringing coffee and encouragement. In turn, she helped him launch a side project, a blog on single parenting, drawing from his experiences. It gained traction, offering catharsis. Sophie thrived, her grades soaring, friendships blooming. But a health scare tested them. Elena found a lump, echoing Mike's past trauma. Biopsy days were agony. Benign results brought relief and closer bonds. "We're in this," Mike vowed. Months blurred into a year. Elena proposed during a family vacation to the beach, where Sophie built sandcastles. Kneeling in the surf, ring in hand, "Marry us?" Mike laughed through tears, proposing back. The wedding was seaside, intimate, Sophie scattering petals, vows blending past and future. "I promised to honor Lisa's memory while building ours," Elena said. Mike echoed, "and to cherish your strength as our foundation." Life post-wedding wasn't perfect. Blending households meant compromises. Elena's penthouse sold for a family home with a yard. Work boundaries solidified, no shared projects. Sophie adjusted, calling Elena bonus mom, a term that warmed hearts. Challenges like teen rebellion loomed as Sophie grew, but they faced them united. Mike's blog evolved into a book deal, Elena mentoring him. Their story inspired colleagues, proving love could flourish amid adversity. Years later, reflecting on that party, Mike marveled at fate's twists. Grief had hollowed him, but love refilled the voids. Elena, once isolated, found home in their chaos. Sophie, now a confident teen, pursued art, crediting her parents' resilience. The message was clear: second chances demand courage, but reward with profound joy. Healing isn't linear, it's a tapestry of pain, hope, and connection. But wait, their journey wasn't without more twists. Just as they settled into marital bliss, an old flame from Elena's past resurfaced, a charismatic ex-colleague offering her a global opportunity that could uproot everything. Temptation whispered, adventure versus stability. Mike felt the old insecurities rise. Would she choose ambition over family? They argued fiercely, words cutting deep. "I thought we were past this," Mike said, storming out. Elena chased him, rain soaking them. "I choose us, always." But the offer lingered, a cliffhanger testing their vows. Resolution came through compromise. She negotiated a remote role, blending worlds. It strengthened them, proving love evolves. Another layer unfolded with Sophie's discovery of old letters from Lisa, hidden in a box. Reading them stirred emotions, joy at her mother's words, confusion about Elena's place. "Does this mean I'm forgetting mommy?" she asked tearfully. Family therapy sessions unpacked it, Elena sharing her own losses. "We honor her by living fully," Mike said. Sophie emerged stronger, creating a scrapbook blending both women. It healed generational wounds, fostering deeper bonds. Professionally, Mike's promotion to partner at Apex brought power shifts. Now equals, they navigated decisions collaboratively, but egos clashed during a major merger. "Your way or mine?" Elena teased, but underlying tension built. A heated boardroom debate spilled into home, silent treatments ensuing. Sophie mediated. "Talk, you guys." Laughter broke the ice, leading to apologies and renewed passion. They learned humility, their marriage a model of partnership. Community involvement added depth. They volunteered at grief support groups, Mike sharing his story, Elena funding resources. One session, a young widow approached Mike, her eyes mirroring his past pain. Elena watched proudly, no jealousy, trust solidified. Their efforts rippled, helping others find light in darkness. As Sophie headed to college, empty nest syndrome hit. Mike and Elena rediscovered each other, spontaneous trips, dance classes echoing their first party. But health revisited, Mike's routine checkup revealed high cholesterol, a wake-up call. Elena enforced workouts, their jogs becoming therapy. "We're getting old," he joked. "Together," she replied. Flashbacks enriched their narrative. Mike recalled Lisa's last birthday, baking her favorite cake with Sophie. Sharing with Elena, tears flowed, but catharsis followed. Elena confessed her infertility struggles post-divorce, fears of inadequacy. "You're enough," Mike assured. Adoption discussions arose, but they chose fostering, opening their home to a teen boy, Alex. Challenges abounded, trust issues, cultural clashes. Alex's rebellion tested patience, but persistence paid. He integrated, calling them family, expanding their circle. Global events intruded. A pandemic forcing remote work, isolating yet uniting them. Virtual dates with Sophie, care packages for Alex. Elena's firm pivoted digitally, Mike's insights crucial. Stress peaked, but resilience shone. Anniversaries marked milestones, their first kiss recreated soberly, laughs shared. Sophie's wedding years later, Mike walking her down the aisle, Elena beaming. Grandkids arrived, filling home with chaos anew. Through it all, the core remained. That party moment, a pivot from solitude to synergy. Mike's life, once fractured, mended with love's threads. Elena's ambition found balance in connection. Their inspiring message? Embrace vulnerability, it forges unbreakable bonds. Grief shapes, but love transforms. And there, dear viewers, ends our extended tale of second chances, sober hearts, and enduring love. If this story touched you, hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional journeys. Your support means the world.